The second event in the Porsche Racing Esports Carrera Cup GB is here at Snetterton. It's the 300 in use, and after a drama-filled start to the championship season, we're expecting more of the same here, with Will Chadwick coming here as the pro class leader, Tom Stevens a double winner. Last time out he leads AM, and perhaps the big talking point is that the multiple champion, indeed the regularly dominant Sebastian Jobe, not only had a tough opening event at Donington, but it got tougher after we went off air, because with dramas being looked at from race one, he ended up being given a penalty and got a no score. He tumbled down to 10th place in race one. That means he comes here 8th in the championship, which is pretty much unheard of. David Addison and Paul Smith with you for what promised to be two really good races around the 300. And as far as the championship's concerned, Paul, Jobe only 8th. Well, that's unprecedented.
It certainly is, David. Good evening, everybody. I do think that the level of competition has risen, and they've had to compete with Sebastian, but at the same point, is it a blip, or are we going to see a continuation of that tonight? We'll have to wait and see.
Well, absolutely, because in practice, he's already been looking very, very good indeed. A quick reminder about how the championship works. We're on Wednesday evenings for this season. So we've been to Donington, Snetterton tonight, then on the 11th of Feb, Alton Park, followed by the Silverstone International Circuit, Barcelona in March, chased by Thruxton, then the Donington Park Grand Prix Circuit and the Brands Hatch Grand Prix Circuit to round out the season. Two classes, Pro and Am, and the usual format, the open qualifying, which lasts for 10 minutes. Then we have a quick break before race one, 25 minutes. We're expecting 15 laps if it's dry, then time to just catch your breath, and then with the top 8 finishers reversed, we're good to go in race 2. And as far as the pro category is concerned, the greater allocation of points goes to race 1, but there are 2 at stake for pole position in each class. So Will Chadwick comes here as the championship leader, with Charlie Collins, the race 2 winner from Donington. Will Chadwick, the race 1 winner, he's second. Matt Caruana just 1 point back third, another point back to Pete Berriman, and then tied for 5th, Leo Gariboli and Gareth Higgins. Sebastian Jobe with only the 5 points to his name, but I very much doubt that we'll be talking about him being 8th by the end of the evening. As far as AM is concerned, Tom Stevens a lockout with 20 points ahead of Guy Edwards, who was a winner here last year, Conan Whean third, and then Christian Charuta, who also had a tough Donington 4th from Gordon Marshall and Fraser Hart. But Paul, last time we did see in both classes some very competitive racing, didn't we?
It was an incredible opening round to the championship, and one that I'm sure that people will be watching back on the VOD, on the video on demand, and it was certainly worth your while watching it. And plenty of action that we had on display at Donington, but Snetterton, it's a different style of track. You've got that very technical sort of inner sector of the lap, but then you've got some quite fast sections, that pit straight, the run down to the Wilson hairpin, the run down the back straight towards the S's as well, and the ever challenging Coram into the final corner as well. It is a track of almost 2 halves, and these drivers, they can't set up their cars how they like it other than a brake bias tweak. It's all the same setup for everybody.
And it's a long lap as well. We're nearly at 3 miles on this iteration of Snetterton. A 1 minute 48.294 is a good pole time set last year by Sebastian Jobe. Last year's races, we had rain at the end of one, and therefore it was carried into race 2. So we're expecting it to be dry this evening. And a man to watch, Remy Gilbert, goes through aboard number 42, which is the Team Benick entry. Charlie Collins is also going to be a driver to keep an eye on. And so far, traffic management proving to be key, isn't it? Because it's very busy out there.
It certainly is. And right now, the drivers are just trying to get their tyres into a working range to be able to really have a good push, or two laps of push out there. But you're going to be limited on laps in qualifying, just purely because, as you said, David, it's quite a long lap, nearly 2 minutes around here. So you want to get yourself in a good position, but you also need to get those laps in, because in this series, once the clock strikes 0, that is it. You do not get to finish your lap.
No, indeed. And right now, pretty much everybody seems to be running in one long line. So it's at the end of this next lap that we are going to get representative lap times. And going back to the circuit length, this is another key element of this. You've only got 10 minutes. A lap is 2 minutes-ish. And by the time you actually get round to finishing a flying lap, you're almost at the halfway point, aren't you?
Yeah, so I mean, you look at it, 6.5 minutes remaining, and Charlie Collins, who's at the very front of all of the cars out there on track, is only just coming through the final corner of the track. I'm looking at my track map, so it's quite a long time. You're losing 4 minutes nearly here. Aidan Walsingham, I want to say, what a race it was in race number 2 from Aidan last week to get his first podium as a pro driver. It was a great effort from Aidan, and a great defensive display as well.
Yeah, did a really good job, didn't he, in both races, in fairness to him, because the first one netted a 7th place, then he got his podium, as you say. In reverse, Leo Garibaldi, he got a 3rd and a 7th, and he was also competitive last time out. So now, as drivers do break the timing beam, we're starting to get a bit of a shuffle to the order, and it is going to be Charlie Collins, the fastest, by half a second from Pete Berryman. Scott Mokes, though, going very nicely. Best of the AMs, he's 3rd, and Sebastian Jobe will get a proper lap time out of in due course. But Aidan Walsingham then goes through. Sebastian Hawkins has just improved to get himself up to 13th, but we're pretty much, as I say now, at the halfway part of this very short, sharp qualifying session. A good effort by Isaac Price, up to 2nd quickest.
Yes, he's got himself back up there, and Isaac is a interesting one because he does bounce between different simulators, the different simulations. He's always at a disadvantage to some of these drivers who solely focus on one simulator, so in this case iRacing. Isaac's always a little bit compromised with having to get the feel, because as good as they all are, the different simulators in their accuracy in terms of the cars and the tracks, they've all got their own little feels or how to get the most time out of the particular cars. So yeah, it's a little bit of a disadvantage for people like Isaac Price to come here, or indeed Jamie Fluke, who's spent quite a time away from iRacing, only just in this last few months coming back to the service.
So Charlie Collins, for the moment, is the quickest. He's 4 points back in the championship from Will Chadwick, and if he takes pole position, he's going to get a further 2 and therefore halve that deficit. Will Eatwell is heading towards us, number 54 in the Carl Simsport entry, and he is currently 6th in the times. Will Eatwell coming new into the championship. He was 15th and 14th in the 2 races at Donington first time out. So I think there's more to come from him as the championship season goes on. And Sebastian Jobe is already up to 2nd. Now, quite often we talk about him leaving it late. He's not left it late. He's there already. And Sebastian Jobe, 76 thousandths shy of Charlie Collins. So I think that's sort of answering the earlier question. Was Donington a blip? Yes, because Jobe is going to be a force to be reckoned with here at Snetterton.
And he's getting a nice tow as well from Will Chadwick right in front of him as well. He's got enough of a gap that he's not going to get held up by Will through the slow twisty stuff. So yeah, he will get some effect of the slipstream down those straights. So Sebastian Jobe in a pretty good spot right now on track.
Yeah, he is indeed. Will Chadwick, the championship leader, is 3rd. Remy Gilbert is 4th. Aidan Walsingham 5th. Jamie Fluke 6th. And it's Scott Mokes now 13th, who is still the best of the AMs. Remember, we've got the 2 categories, Pro and AM, and you're riding with Sebastian Jobe, who has got traffic up the road ahead of him. But it's far enough ahead, at least for the moment, not to get in the way. The only downside is that he might catch it by the end of the lap where it's all quite tight and you just do not need people in the way. Let's see.
Backing off a little bit earlier going into the S's, but this is such a tricky section of the track. You're turning, throw the car in left, you're turning and braking at the same time, so easy to snatch a brake, and with this, we're on the 992, the original 992 version of the Cup car, so we don't run with ABS in this series, so it's so easy to snatch a brake going into that S's, and again here as well.
Now he's going to get one more lap out of it, but the one after that he wouldn't complete because of the clock. So as Jamie Fluke goes well and up to 3rd briefly, now Matt Caruana quickest, now Sebastian Jobe the quickest. It's changing all the time. So Sebastian Jobe goes ahead of Will Chadwick. There's only 58 thousandths of a second between them, but Sebastian Jobe now fastest. Sebastian Hawkins here looking rapid as Aidan Walsingham goes up to 5th. So Job, Chadwick, Collins, Caruana, Walsingham, Gilbert, that's the top 6. Over the timing line now goes Hawkins, and he's an improver. His heat come the end of that lap goes by. So Sebastian Hawkins, no, in fact only 22nd now, so not finding the extra time, even though the road was clear ahead of him.
Everyone apart from Dylan Freckleton and also James Parker and number 3, which is Scott Brazier, will be able to get one more lap in here. So those 3 drivers just didn't quite reach the line in time.
Now Gareth Higgins, who was 4th and 5th in the 2 races at Donington, has not recorded a time for reasons that are as yet not explaining themselves. And that's a worry and a surprise in equal measure, because we know that Gareth's quick.
He's not in the server at all, so
right.
It might be that he's having a technical problem. That sort of thing can happen. It's almost the real world equivalent of, say, having car trouble or something like that. You can have that in the simulation world as well.
So he might be able to join the race, but he'll have to start at the back. So watch this space as we ride on board with Will Chadwick, who is hoping to get a tow, but I think he's possibly gone just a little bit wide coming out of turn 12. This will be the end of his session, because although he'll start another lap, he won't finish it, because there's only half a minute on the clock as he goes by, and Will Chadwick stays second. Job has pitted, Collins has pitted, Walsingham has pitted, and the clock has almost hit 0 as the rest of them come pouring over the line. There's Isaac Price, who was going nicely early on. He's dropped to 11th though now.
He has done, but look at the focus. He's looking forward, and it's at this point that, yeah, you can just afford to have a breath and think about getting things set up ready for the race, because you've got a nice long straight there. But yeah, Price does not improve his lap time, and I think that just the best of the tyres went away on that last lap.
I think you're right. So the 2 points for pole are going to go the way of Sebastian Job, and a job well done indeed to put himself back into the mix. So as far as the grid is concerned, Sebastian Job then starts on pole position. Will Chadwick is going to be alongside him, ahead of Charlie Collins, and then Matt Caruana 4th, Pete Berryman 5th, and Aidan Walsingham again up at the pointy end 6th. Remy Gilbert 7th. Jacob Toffs, we didn't really get to in qualifying, but he's 8th, ahead of Luke Pennington, who's been a winner here in the past in AM. Jamie Fluke for 10th, ahead of Isaac Price, and then Crofton Woodhatch rounds out the top dozen. 13th is Leo Brown. Leo Gariboli only 14th, one to watch, perhaps ahead of James Dennison, and then Will Eatwell. Scott Brazier 17th, and Scott Mokes heading the AM class next up from Kieran Harding, and then Tom Stevens, double winner at Donington. You've got Gordon Marshall and Christian Charuta ahead of Fraser Hart, and then Conan Whean, who is 24th on the grid. 25th, Sebastian Hawkins ahead of James Parker. Guy Edwards is ahead of Dylan Freckleton, and if he joins in, it is going to be Gareth Higgins at the very back of the grid. So drivers now will put themselves back into the server. We'll get ourselves ready for 25 minutes for race 1 from Snetterton. Race 3 of the championship season. The 1x1 staggered grid starts to build, as you see 93 there, Charlie Collins in the Coanda Esports entry getting set. And we need to keep an eye as to whether or not Gareth Higgins is able to join in, because if he's not, then that really kicks his championship straight away, doesn't it? 2 good results at Donington, but a question mark over his participation here at Snetterton already. So, last few cars on the grid, last few drivers join the server. Rounds 3 and 4 on the Snetterton 300 circuit are ready to go in the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain Championship. Everybody is, as far as we can see, good to go. We're looking at 14 laps. Sebastian Job starts on pole position then. Lights out, good getaway by Job, and straight away Will Chadwick cuts across to defend from everybody else and secure that second place on the way down towards Riches for the first time. And drama in the background, one in the wall already, and that I think is Jamie Fluke. It is, he bounces back towards the tarmac, but he would have picked up damage as the leaders head towards the Wilson hairpin for the first time. It's going to be Job ahead of Chadwick, and more mayhem in the middle of the pack, and around there, look, has gone Kieran Harding. He's taken Scott Mokes, the AM pole winner, with him, and others involved in that. So mayhem, Paul, on that one.
Conan Whean's got a black flag as well for a jump start. Yeah, Gordon Marshall caught up in that. I think Scott Brazier as well. Carnage in the mid-pack, and that's it with Snetterton. It's not the widest of tracks here, and when you're on the opening of this race, you can trip over each other, and unfortunately we've seen a few already.
Indeed so, and we don't see in the server Gareth Higgins, so that answers that. As Sebastian Job now tries to build the advantage. You're on board with Crofton Woodhatch as he turns his way then up now towards the Bentley Straight. You've got this sort of paperclip section of Snetterton, lots of corners all folded into the infield, and then back onto the original circuit, the old circuit that ran down towards the S's, now Brundle and Nelson. But it's Job, Chadwick, Collins, Caruana, Berryman, Gilbert, the top six, and the best of the AMs, Guy Edwards, who has benefited from the schmozzle up at the Wilson hairpin, gained a whole heap of places.
Good description there, schmozzle. You're absolutely right there, David. It's a bit of change in the positions ahead. Will Eatwell having a bit of a poor run through the S's here. This is on the lap one, folks. There's plenty more action to come here, but it's all in the mid-pack, isn't it?
It is, and this is exactly what Job wants. Everybody else squabbling behind him, and he can now focus on driving his race. Doesn't need to think particularly about Will Chadwick, who is 6/10 of a second back. Then it's Charlie Collins, Caruana for fourth, Berryman, Gilbert, Tofts, Pennington, Price and Walsingham rounding out that top 10. So Aidan Walsingham is a driver that's fallen back a little bit from where he was 6th on the grid. It's not been a great first lap for him. Guy Edwards, as I say, is the leading AM. He's in 16th place, but now you can see what's happening. Job's getting away, and Chadwick is having to defend from Charlie Collins, and that is costing him time, playing totally into the hands of the race leader.
It certainly is, but Chadwick, he's not defending fresh air. He's not just trying to defend at every single corner. He's being very canny about it. He's picked up a lot of experience at the top level now over the last few years, and we've seen him really grow in terms of being a driver and a competitor in this championship. So yeah, he's really developed his racecraft as Will, but he's got a hard charging Charlie Collins behind, who has got so much experience from the Porsche Esports Super Cup. Let's have a look then. So it was a little move across on Marshall, and then that wipes out 3 other cars that were just innocent bystanders.
And I think we've lost Scott Brazier from the race because he has not completed his opening lap and looks like he's checked out already. So yes, mayhem up at the hairpin. I think that was Brazier with damage, wasn't it, limping into retirement. So disappointment, Scott Brazier, an early casualty, as Job is already the best part of a second ahead, and possibly with a problem there. James Dennison losing a place going towards Bombhole. Then you go right through Coram. But Sebastian Job looks as though this is the real Sebastian Job, not the imposter we had at Donington, because already he's dominant, isn't he? And it's only the end of lap 2.
Yeah, it was almost as if Sebastian had gone, hey, Paul, do you fancy a race? With how it went last week, because, yeah, it certainly wasn't the Sebastian of old that we know. Jamie Fluke, who must have some damage from that opening corner. I think he must have clipped the wall there at some point in towards Richards, but 19th, it's a hard task for him. He had by his standards, a pretty poor opening 2 races at Donington, and he'll have wanted to have got off on a good foot, and unfortunately gets involved in shenanigans at turn 1.
Still hustling on, but he's got a whole load of traffic that he needs to negotiate, including Christian Charuta kicking a bit of dirt into his face as they go down towards Agostini here at Snetterton, the East Anglian circuit. So this is turn 4, effectively. Charuta up the curb. There was a spinner ahead as well, wasn't there? There you can see a car facing the wrong way. That might be Will Eatwell. It's got that sort of livery. It was. Will Eatwell has gone around. Is that an overcooked Eatwell? Anyway, he's got it back in the right direction. He rejoins, but a load of time lost there.
Thank you, David. Yes, it might have just got a little bit keen on the loud pedal. Yeah, just rotates the car around, and because it's a rear-engined car, once that rear end breaks away, it acts like a pendulum, does that engine. Yep. It just swings the back end round, and yeah, Will finding out the hard way.
Good news, no damage, although he might have taken a bit of life out of the tyres as you go on board with Aidan Walsingham. Having fallen away on that opening lap, he's finding it tough, isn't he, to make up that lost ground. Sitting on the back of Isaac Price here as they come through Coram, down to the end of lap number 3, go into turn 12, turn left, and then hard on the loud pedal. Slight climb here as you head up towards the timing line, and it's a long pit straight, speed building all the time. This is the view out of the front of the car, and then at the bottom right you can see Aiden hard at work.
Well, you say hard at work, it looks like it's a nice relaxing drive for him here with how sort of calm. But that's what you need to be, don't you, David? You can't be all over and retching at the wheel and everything. You've got to be nice and calm and precise with your inputs here, and that's what Aiden is showing us right now perfectly.
And even if this isn't going to be a mega race, what he would like to do at least is get into the top 8, because then he'll benefit on that reversal. Right now, Luke Pennington is 8th place, would be on pole for race 2. So there's a little bit of increasing pressure here on Price and Walsingham, 9th and 10th, to try to get themselves up into the top 8 and get pole position. Right now, Luke Pennington sat on the back of Jacob Tofts, who is also a real-world Porsche racer. We've seen him in Porsche Sprint Challenge for the Caymans for the last couple of years, and his dad, very rapid Formula Ford racer as well.
And a Duckham livery always looks good in a car, in my opinion, as well. It's just, car going straight on there, further down the field. So Scott Moak's moving up through the AMs, but yeah, there was a car going straight on then, locking up.
There was, you're right. So yeah, Scott Moak's recovering after his travails on the first lap, getting himself back into the mix. As there you can see number 20, James Parker, coming under attack. Scott Moak's lines up to the inside, brakes late, makes the first part of the S's and makes the second as well, but he's going to go a little bit wide up the curve. He does, but that doesn't really affect him. He's able to keep the place, so a nice effort that. Who was it that went straight on? Kieran Harding potentially? Yes, on the outside line. Gets onto the grass, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 places lost, but at least he's still in the race. He can fight back.
And that was a typical, you're all hard onto the brakes and there was just a slight rub, and just that slight rub unsettles the car. You lose that adhesion, you get offline slightly, and then you're heading straight off the track. But well done to keep that out the wall there, Kieran.
Now, Sebastian Jobe has not got quite the advantage. He did a couple of laps back. He was hovering around the 1 second mark. He's now 6/10. Meanwhile, 91 is Christian Charuta, and he once more is on the attack, as you see Sebastian Jobe making his way now down towards Agostini. But to the eye, Chadwick does look a little bit nearer, doesn't he?
He certainly does, and he's not having to defend quite as sternly against Charlie Collins as well, so he can focus forward on Sebastian Jobe. I did notice that Jobe and Chadwick take a slightly different line into Agostini, into that hairpin. Chadwick takes it a little bit tighter on entry, so a little bit of nuances with how the different driving styles is affecting them out here.
Sebastian Jobe, though, in a straight line, looked rapid, and in fairness to Will Chadwick, he's kind of shaken off Charlie Collins for the moment. They were close for a few laps back, so Will Chadwick doesn't need to think quite as fretfully about Collins, although that said, Charlie was really good on the brakes going down towards the S's that time around. This is bomb hole. See the effort being put in by Charlie Collins then as the car now goes through that long, fast right of Coram. Road dips slightly as you come out of the corner, and then there's the climb, gradual as it is, the other side of turn 12. Under braking, certainly Chadwick looks to close on Jobe, Collins looks to close on Chadwick, and now they power their way up towards the timing line. We're about to start lap number 6. They go by, and the lead gap is still hovering around that 0.6 of a second mark. But we know what Sebastian Jobe is like. He's no doubt got this all under control.
Yeah, look after the tyres, control the speed at the front of the field, and then the last 5 minutes or so just make that breakaway and pull away at the front. But you know, Chadwick, he's worked on his race pace, I do think, and we saw that last time out at Donington Park in that first race, that he can, again, quite as well, control things at the front and then push on towards the end. And you do need to do an element of tyre whispering a little bit. You can go hard with them for a 25-minute race, but you do need to just keep something in reserve for that last push towards the end. And these guys up at the front, they've really come on and developed that skill over the years.
Yeah, the one negative, if you like, from Will, from Donington, was that he really struggled in race 2 to get through traffic. And potentially he's going to face the same here, because on the reversal he'll find himself on row 4, and it ain't going to be easy to get by. So the racecraft needs to be good for race 2 on that reverse grid. Meanwhile, quick word about the AM class. Guy Edwards currently ahead of Tom Stevens. The race leader, Sebastian Jobe, 0.6 of a second up the road. But now Collins is coming back at Chadwick for second place, isn't he?
certainly is, and he's getting a little bit closer. He's feeling a little bit excited and moving forward. One thing I was thinking, just with us looking down towards the AMS a little bit just then on that split screen, Guy Edwards, he must absolutely love this place, because of course he won last time out here in race 1 as well, so it's obviously a track that suits Guy.
And at the moment he's got the best part of a second over Tom Stevens, as there, look, Charlie Collins goes through Riches, getting a little bit nearer once more to the back of Will Chadwick, 3/10 between them, give or take. So Chadwick's focus now is on the mirror, not out the front of the car. In other words, the pressure is just taken off Sebastian Jobe a little bit. We are now on lap 7 of the projected 14. This is the view going through turn 3. Speed builds the other side of it, down towards Agostini. A little bit more of the dirt thrown into the face of Collins. And then it's going to be hard on the brakes now as they turn into Agostini. Turn 4, that left-hander.
Pretty even through there, but Collins just has been, I think he's been showing a little bit of patience early on in this race, and is now trying to push on and put the pressure on here. But I've heard it time and again when I've interviewed these drivers in the past, and they talk about how they don't really get the pressure from other drivers. They give it themselves. It's what pressure they put on themselves to perform, and it's, if you can control that, then you're an absolute master, and you deserve to be up at the front there. But it must be a little bit ominous seeing that purple and orange front end coming bigger into your rearview mirror.
Yeah, go along with that, especially when you are trying not to think about it, close on that race leader. But the gap has closed a little, hasn't it? Because we're back down to half a second between Jobe and Chadwick, and we're also pretty much at halfway. 12.5 minutes we've just tipped over to go. So 12.5 in this 25-minute race. Under braking, Collins closes right back up. I do wonder whether, were Charlie Collins not sitting on the back of Will Chadwick, whether Will would take the battle to Sebastian Jobe. The problem now is that as he closes, he gets a little bit stuck in dirty air. That enables Collins to close, and then Will has to think about defending. So he's in this invidious position. He wants to attack, but he's got to defend at the same time.
Yeah, it's rock and hard place, isn't it? He's stuck between right now, yeah. And it's these sorts of environments and these sorts of races, as Luke Pennington with a hard attack on Jacob Tofts there down at the Wilson hairpin, but Tofts is going to defend that. These two have got to be careful, because Isaac Price is sniffing on a reverse grid position right now.
Absolutely. Tofts 7th, Pennington 8th, and Price 9th, with Aidan Walsingham behind. So any one of these four could end up on pole position as Pennington goes wide and opens the door there. Up the inside gets Isaac Price, but he can't quite get the power down in time. So number 99, Isaac Price, stays 9th. Aidan Walsingham is 10th. Leo Brown is not that far behind in 11th place. Walsingham challenges again. He's on the outside line now as they turn their way up through Hamilton, Oggies, Williams, onto Bentley Straight, and suddenly it's Price having to go defensive to keep Walsingham at bay rather than attack Pennington. That's one of the beauties of that infield section, that the road, because it's going from left to right all the time, corner by corner, you get yourself on a good line for one corner, but it's the wrong line for the next, and it does keep you guessing all the way through that paperclip section back onto the traditional Snetterton.
Walsingham just a little bit wide there through the first part of the S's. That's lost him a half a tenth, maybe a tenth of a second there, but he's not too worried at the moment. Well, he's not giving us any emotions really at the moment on screen there in the bottom right hand corner. These four drivers fighting is allowing both Leo Brown and Leo Garibaldi as well, the two Leos who've started together, they're still together out there on track, so they're trying to sneak into this fight.
Yeah, you're right. They were together on the grid, as you say, and still squabbling. Guy Edwards, I reckon, is edging further away from Tom Stevens then. Tom, double winner at Donington. That's second here. This is Walsingham's view again as he brakes late, going up towards the Wilson hairpin. And Jacob Tofts is under massive pressure, isn't he, from Luke Pennington. There's hardly anything between those two, arguing at the minute over 7th place. Yeah,
this is great stuff at the bottom end of the top 8. Oh, that's a mistake from Chadwick. That's an opportunity for Collins. Not quite able to take it, though.
Takes the pressure off Jobe and nose to tail. Chadwick now needs to make sure he doesn't get into any strife here. He needs points, even though it's early in the championship. Turning his way now towards Bentley Straight once again. Look back, that's Collins in third. And if they carry on squabbling like this, Matt Caruana, who is fourth, might just get up with them as well. It's Pete Berryman in fifth, a little bit anonymous in this race, and then sixth, Remy Gilbert, going better than he did at Donington. Collins having a cheeky look to the inside line, coming down towards the S's. No way through there, but remember, he was a winner at Donington, and although he's new to this championship, he has raced in the Esports Super Cup series, so he knows about Porsches.
Finished second one season, Charlie, in the Porsche Esports Super Cup. I think you're absolutely right from what you said earlier, David. It does look better on the brakes. He looks more confident getting onto that brake pedal and closes up towards the back of Will Chadwick. But as with a lot of this track, it's all about corner exit and carrying the speed down the straights, and Chadwick just seems to do enough to keep himself ahead. But Collins, I wouldn't be surprised to see him make a move in the next couple of laps.
And it might be on here because he just fainted, didn't he, towards the inside. Maybe that was more to try to unsettle Chadwick than for a serious bid for position. But Charlie Collins showed good pace at Donington, certainly in the second race. And right now you've got the two Donington winners here arguing over second place at Snetterton, with Sebastian Jobe building the gap all the time. Meanwhile, a challenge is being made by Jamie Fluke up the inside, and he's going to get himself ahead there, isn't he, of Christian Charuta coming out of the Wilson hairpin.
It's not quite a done deal though, is it? Absolutely together. This is great to see a little kiss between the two of them, and Charuta has got the inside for Agostini and for the next corner as well at Hamilton.
So Charuta secures the place, takes it back, as you say, up towards Hamilton, go left, and then you've got the double right-handed section to loop you back around onto Bentley Straight. 7 minutes and a half, just about, still counting down as you look at Christian Charuta. He's 17th, he's third in class. And Sebastian Jobe's advantage is building now because Chadwick is busy having to defend. Sebastian Jobe hasn't really upped his pace necessarily to build the gap, but Will Chadwick is going slower because he's having to defend, and you take slower lines. It's all played into Jobe's hands, hasn't it?
Yeah, he just controlled things at the front, waiting until his opportunities come up, which is right about now. Good launch from Chadwick though, out of that last corner, so Collins is going to have to wait for his opportunity again, but heading towards Riches. If you get it thrown in right here and carry the speed through Riches in towards the Wilson hairpin, you can maybe make a move down the inside there. Other favourite place to overtake Agostini. You can make a bit of a lunge at Oggies as well, but it can compromise you both if you do that. And then pretty much elsewhere, it's pretty much stay as you are.
Well, for race 3 of the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain, it looks like normal service has been resumed, doesn't it? Sebastian Jobe now nearly a second and a half to the good. 6 more minutes remain. Remember, it's a 25-minute race rather than a set number of laps. The estimate is that it's going to be 14. And the big battle is on for second place. The green car of Will Chadwick, and he's right there ahead of Charlie Collins. But Matt Caruana, in fairness to these two, even though they're holding each other up, Caruana not closing, is he?
No, he's not. He's not quite matching the pace of the two in front. So even though they're not squabbling, but they're showing some intent to each other, Caruana's just not quite matching their pace right now, and it is showing with that little bit of a gap that Matt has there in fourth place. But Collins, well, he's getting ever so closer and closer and closer.
And he also needs to make a decision whether it's worth going all out or whether he wants to keep out of trouble and make sure that he's well placed and gains points, because the last thing he needs is to go off the circuit altogether. Sebastian Jobe then comes through Coram down towards turn 12 with the final fifth of the race ready to go. 5 more minutes are on the clock. You've got Chadwick going wide, you've got then in third place Charlie Collins going wide coming out of turn 12, and now the run past the pits on the right hand side. Meanwhile, that battle pack further back to 7th, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, they're all pouring their way up towards the timing line once again. And it's Jacob Toft in the yellow-nosed Duckham livery car, desperately trying to hang on to 7th, while Luke Pennington is set, barring dramas, for a race 2 pole in 8th place.
He hopes. It's still 5 minutes, well, 4.5 minutes left. Anything can happen here. And they're all pushing on. It's been a tremendous sort of effort from everybody, even this pack down here. But it's just showing that it can be a bit difficult to make those overtakes around here with this car right now, and Toft is just defending where he needs to, and he's using that real-world Porsche Sprint Challenge experience to good use here.
Isaac Price having a feisty race, isn't he, as well? He's caught back up onto the tail of Pennington. Isaac with a 19th and a 15th out of the Donington race. He's going much better here. 9th he is, and getting himself onto the back there, as you can see, of Pennington, whose Coanda Esports entry now accelerates once more towards Bentley Straight. So Price looking for 8th and pole, and at the same time keeping Aidan Walsingham behind, who was flattered to deceive it a little bit in this. 6th in qualifying, and even though he dropped back on lap 1, he's not been able, has he, really frustratingly for him, to make up any of that lost ground. He's been pretty much stuck in 10th since the end of lap 1.
Yeah, it's, unfortunately, if you get stuck in a pack like this, you can almost fall down to the pace of somebody else, even if they are on a natural pace slower than you, because you get used to where they're braking. So you start braking at where they are, you start turning in where they are, and all of a sudden you're matching their pace, and you're thinking, where's my half a second of advantage gone over that guy? But it's what can happen. You almost get hypnotised, don't you, David?
You do, and hypnotised is the word. Yes, you're completely focused on that car ahead, and you start to think almost that you can't go any quicker, and it's kind of breaking out of that and having a go somehow late race, and we might see that from Charlie Collins. But Will Chadwick right now is doing his very best to hang on to second place and the points that go with it. Sebastian Jobe 1.6 seconds up the road, and this is what we've come to expect from Sebastian, isn't it? Inch perfect, as you say, a perfect launch as well off the line. And for Sebastian Jobe, he's going to get one more lap at the end of this, isn't he? As he currently works lap 13, so that 14-lap prediction looks like it was on. Matt Caruana still 4th, Pete Berryman sitting behind him 5th. Those two have been close, but again, Berryman has never quite got close enough to have a go for the position.
No, he certainly hasn't, and Caruana very well worth his place right now. Basically, the top 5 have stayed exactly where they were. It's from Remy Gilbert down where we've had the changes of position, but yeah, this top 5, they've been pretty much where they are. So yeah, definitely difficult to overtake if you just don't have that speed advantage. And with how close this championship is, I think it's getting more and more difficult to make moves because of how close these drivers are.
One of the big winners out of all of this in terms of track position, Guy Edwards, because he was 27th on the grid. He was on the back row, and there he is, up to 15th and leading the AM class. I know he benefited a bit by people having dramas on lap 1, but for Guy Edwards, it's been a mega turnaround. We've also lost Conan Whean into the pit lane as well. So Conan Whean, another casualty, number 12, as the race heads towards its final lap, with Guy Edwards there looking very, very strong indeed as far as that AM category is concerned.
I've been looking at the pace that Sebastian Jobe has been doing. He's still in the 48.5s now. Chadwick and Collins, they're just dropping that pace a little bit. Their average lap times over the last 5 laps are 48.7 each. So they have dropped that pace by a couple of tenths over Sebastian Jobe.
So Jobe getting a bigger gap. There is Chadwick still defending on this last lap as the cars now turn again up towards Hamilton. And as far as the fight behind is concerned, it is still Caruana from Berryman, Gilbert 6th, and Toft, who's been under massive pressure race long, still hanging on to 7th spot then as you look from Charlie Collins' car at the back of Will Chadwick's with about 2/3 of a lap to go.
Just see the car moving about a little bit on power for Will Chadwick there, so you can tell that the tyres have lost the best of their grip, and that's where maybe Charlie Collins has just looked after his tyres a little bit more, but he's just stuck there, isn't he? He's wanting a mistake, and Will Chadwick's not giving him one.
And equally, Charlie Collins is doing the right thing. He's not going for half a gap and risking contact, but he is a bit stuck, no question about it. Sebastian Jobe, in the meantime, is heading towards the checkered flag, and he's also heading towards a 40th win in the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup, Great Britain. So, checkered flag at the ready, good points, and win number 40 for Sebastian Jobe as he rather dominates race 1 at Snetterton Second across the line is Will Chadwick. Charlie Collins will take third ahead of Matt Caruana, and then Pete Berryman. Remy Gilbert's best of the season for 6th. 7th, Jacob Tofts ahead of Pennington, Price and Walsingham. And it is going to be an AM win for Guy Edwards, who is heading for 15th place from the back row of the grid. Really good effort, that.
I tell you what, talk about being the right person in the right place at the right time. That's exactly what happened to Guy Edwards there, and thoroughly deserved to take advantage of that.
Absolutely right. Still they come, pouring up towards the line. So we had 29 in practice, 28 in qualifying, 26 finished the first race, and Sebastian Job does it again. Really impressive. So a race 1 victory for Sebastian Job. And he did the fastest lap as well, a 1 minute 48.494 in this opening race. Will Chadwick taking second ahead of Charlie Collins, Matt Caruana in 4th from Pete Berryman and Remy Gilbert, then Jacob Tofts 7th, Luke Pennington bags 8th from Isaac Price, and Aidan Walsingham Pennington's 8th pole for race 2. Leo Brown 11th ahead of Leo Gariboli. James Dennison was ahead of Crofton Woodhatch. Guy Edwards taking a very well-deserved, if surprising perhaps, win in AM from Tom Stevens, and then Christian Charuta 3rd. Jamie Fluke next after his dramas on lap 1. Scott Mopes 19th after his dramas on lap 1, and the top 20 rounded out by James Parker. Fraser Hart for 21st ahead of Sebastian Hawkins. Will Eatwell had a spin but recovered for 23rd. Then it was Dylan Freckleton, Kieran Harding, Gordon Marshall, and we lost Conan Wean, and we lost Scott Brazier as well with damage. Right, intriguing first race, but Sebastian Job, Paul, doing what we've sort of come to expect of him, dominating.
Yes, and as you rightfully pointed out, 40 wins now in this championship for Sebastian. He is clearly the best driver that this championship has ever seen, and it's a question of who can step up and challenge him. So it does appear to be that last time out of Donington was a little bit of a blip for him, but this time he's absolutely back to form and showing why he is the champion, and he's not wanting to relinquish that one just yet.
Now the interest comes what he can do from 8th on the grid, doesn't it? But equally, if you take those positions and reverse them, Luke Pennington up on pole position, and he's going to be one to watch. When he has been up at the pointy end, he's been rather unlucky in the past, to say the least.
He certainly has, and it's going to be all about who can move through the field and try and get those positions. And I think we're basically going to be seeing it as the first couple of laps is when you need to make those moves made quickly, and then once you find yourself in a place, you're going to be struggling to then move forward a bit more, as we saw in that first race. So the launch is key, and this car can be a little bit finicky to get off the line, and that's why you've seen a lot of people practicing that launch in the pit lane.
And Walsingham doing so as he accelerates up towards the race control building and the scrutineering bay the other side of that. Scott Brazier goes through. Hopefully now that car behaving as it should, all the damage sorted out. He took a big whack, as you saw early in the opening race, and we're into the final few seconds of this warm-up before the drivers rejoin the server and we get set for race 2 on the long, nearly 3 miles Snetterton 300 lap. So out comes the checkered flag. Drivers now have a quick chance to catch their breath, and we go again, ready for race number 2. Another 25 minutes will be put onto the clock, and the grid is going to line up with Luke Pennington this time on pole position. Jacob Tofts going to be with him at the front, and then Remy Gilbert for 3rd on the grid, and I think he's going to be a driver to watch as well. 4th, Pete Berryman. 5th on the grid, Matt Caruana, and then Charlie Collins, the equivalent race winner at Donington. It's Will Chadwick starting 7th and Sebastian Job 8th, and then those unaffected by the reversal, Isaac Price ahead of Aidan Walsingham, Leos Brown and Gary Bowley on road 6. starting 13th, James Dennison, ahead of Crofton Woodhatch. Then Guy Edwards, the best am, but he's got the double Donington winning Tom Stevens alongside. Then Christian Scheruter and Jamie Fluke, hoping to keep out of trouble this time around. After that, Scott Mopes and James Parker. We've got Fraser Hart lining up with Sebastian Hawkins for company. Will Eatwell has Dylan Freckleton alongside, and he starts 24th. Then it's Kieran Harding and Gordon Marshall. All being well, Conan Wean will be on the grid, and so too Scott Brazier. Gareth Higgins, I think we can discount, seeing that he missed the opening race. So cars now putting themselves onto the grid, and we get set for race 2. Paul, predictions, what do you reckon?
I think that you're going to see somebody like Pete Berryman or Matt Caruana going to win here today in the second race. That's what I'm predicting from the second or third row of the grid. It's a shame we don't have Leo Sayer and any other Leos as well, because I think we need more on the grid here with the all Leo grid on the sixth row of this one. But yeah, we're definitely missing Gareth Higgins, which is a shame to see. But we're getting set for this one, and drivers, eyes to the gantry, and let's see who gets off the line well.
There is Remy Gilbert, who is going to be third on the grid. So well placed, Remy Gilbert, somebody else with bags of esports experience, so another driver to watch. It's good to have him in the championship this year, having been the runner-up in the single-seater F4 esports British Championship last year. 25 minutes, good to go at Snetterton. Luke Pennington on pole as the lights go out, and a good getaway by Pennington. Good start by Tofts as well. And Will Chadwick making a decent start as the cars accelerate up towards Riches. But Matt Caruana trying to go around the outside look there. Not a great start by Gilbert, and in real strife off the road goes Leo Gariboni by the look of it. Big slide, and he puts himself on the dirt. So drama at turn 1. More comes as Gilbert launches himself up the inside, and that forces Caruana out wide, and then Chadwick gets involved with his teammate and puts Caruana on the dirt.
Yeah, that was a little tag from the Coanda car, Charlie Collins, there on Chadwick, and that just sent him a little bit across into his teammate there. So not the best start for the M Racing team, and they'll be looking to recover in all of this. But Collins making some moves early on in this race, but Pennington, what a launch he got off of the line.
Leo Gariboli has rejoined, but he's got a lot of work to do to salvage anything out of this. As Luke Pennington then, who's not had an outright win before, he has been a class winner. He had a dominant AM season 2 years ago. Well, could this be the day that he turns things upside down and scores an outright win? Jacob Toft second, Pete Berryman third. Remy Gilbert, not a brilliant start because he's dropped back behind Berryman. He's fourth, and then it's Collins ahead of Joe, who significantly, is ahead of Chadwick already.
That's that magic that Sebastian Job pulls off at the start of a race, isn't it? When he's not at the front of the field, he seems to just know exactly where to find the gaps. And like I say, I was racing against, well, I say racing against, I was sharing a track with Sebastian Job 11 years ago, and he was quick then. His racecraft has come on so much over those years, and yeah, he just knows exactly where to place his car at the start of a race.
So he's heading up towards the timing line in 6th, ahead of key championship rival Will Chadwick. And of course, that first race of Sebastian Job, very, very important points-wise, because it was the race with the greater allocation for the win, and he got the 2 for the pole position as well. So ka-ching, like a cash register, everything going his way there. As you look at Gilbert fending off Collins, that is for 4th. Pete Berryman's red car just ahead. Jacob Tofts there in 2nd place, but I would offer you Pennington. He's getting away a little bit.
He certainly is, David. You're absolutely right there. So he's just pulling away a little bit at the front from Toft, and Toft is having to go defensive here on Pete Berryman. Now, Pete Berryman, we've seen time and again, has picked up fastest laps over and over and over again in this series. He's an incredible one-lap pace as Pete. We've not really seen that too much this season, though, but don't count him out. He's a good speed to him. Of course, did well last time out in the first race at Donington. Not so much in that reverse grid race, though. Oh,
Charlie Collins goes wide. Sebastian Job gets up the inside. That was triggered by Collins trying to have a go at Gilbert. Lost out, put himself on the wrong line, and Sebastian Job dives through and puts himself then now up into 5th place. Collins fights back, but no, Sebastian Job closes the door, locks it, bolts it, and Collins is about to lose out if he's not careful to Chadwick, who's trying to get up on the inside. This is Isaac Price's view. Caruana ahead. Chadwick to the inside of Collins at bomb hole. Collins is out wide. Here comes Chadwick up the inside line. Absolutely side by side. Look all the way round Coram. On the outside line is a very brave Charlie Collins. It's going to be Chadwick ahead, but there's going to be a rub between them as they get to turn 12. Back through is Collins, and Caruana takes the place as well. So that means Will Chadwick is shuffled back by 2 places.
Caruana thinking, thank you very much, chaps. You keep that up. I want to come through, and a little bit of a rub of paint as well between the two of them. This is sensational stuff, David, and it's still not done as we head to Wilson.
So you can overtake in a Porsche, and you can be brave in your racecraft as Collins goes deep. What opens the door? Caruana goes by. So 1 up, 1 back for Charlie Collins. That means Caruana is 6th, Collins 7th, and Chadwick is 8th, and he's got to do better than that, while Job is up to 5th. Think about the points that Chadwick's throwing away. And again, like at Donington, he seems to struggle in race 2, doesn't he?
Yeah, and we've seen this before in the past, haven't we, as well? We've seen also Will get his elbows out and really get aggressive at times. He's got to find a happy medium to be able to get the elbows out, but not to the point that he gets himself in trouble. That's that difficult spot that you find yourself in, and we've seen that perfectly from Sebastian Job. But yeah, these guys giving us a great show. Gilbert now on Berryman.
So Berryman and Gilbert together, that's for 3rd place, and they're not that far behind Jacob Toffs, are they? So Remy Gilbert on the outside line, they break the S's. Berryman comes back on the inside, and Gilbert has done it. He goes through, takes 3rd place then, so he's back where he started, and Job is all over the back of a curb, bouncing Berryman. Job looked right, thinks about the inside line at bomb hole. Berryman tries to close the door, but he's gone out wide, and Job is up to 4th. Fantastic effort, this.
Oh, Berryman giving it a little bit of a tap there, because there was a slight rub going into bomb hole. And I tell you what, Berryman's not a happy chap right now. He's got his eyes firmly forward, but you've got to control that aggression, Pete. Don't get yourself into trouble. You're in a good spot right now, and who knows what will happen. We've still got 19 minutes left of this one.
Yeah, I was just thinking that. I mean, Job has done all of that overtaking within the first 5 minutes, so he's done a really good job. There is Berryman, number 50 in the red car, tucked up behind as they round the hairpin, the Drago racing car of Pete Berryman here. But Sebastian Job now, having got himself up through the order, he's going to find life a little bit tougher, because there's a gap between him and Remy Gilbert, who is the next target. Christian Charuta, by the way, is up to the lead of Am, ahead of Tom Stevens and Guy Edwards, race 1 winner, back into 3rd. Frustration for Tom Stevens is he's no better off, though, is he? He's still 2nd, which is where he was in race 1.
But do you know what? Right now, I wouldn't be too worried about that. He's getting some really good AM points here, is Tom. 2 second places, that'll be good for his championship. He had a 9-point lead coming into this week, so it's not the end of the world if he finishes 2nd both races. I did notice the witness mark on the back of Sebastian Job's car from that little friendly love kiss from Pete Berryman going through Coram. So yeah, Job carrying a bit of damage to the rear end.
We've also lost Leo Gariboli. He did rejoin after his dramas on lap 1, but he's pitted, and his race is done, as now Remy Gilbert fancies his chances of being 2nd in this race, doesn't he? He's all over the back of Jacob Toffs now. Into Coram they go. This is playing into the hands of Luke Pennington. So Luke leads, and after a 9th and a 10th at Donington, could he be on for the race win here? I know it's the reverse grid, but even so, he's being able to build that gap, because he's 1.9 seconds up the road, and if Toft here has got to defend from Gilbert, then the gap's only going to stretch. The other interest is Job, isn't it? Because now he is 4th and he's closing on Gilbert. There is Remy at work, and Remy in turn is a bit stuck behind Toft. Job for the podium, that could be on.
I think it definitely is on here. You don't count him out, that's for sure. Pennington, he's just running away. He's delighted with this. Keep on fighting, chaps. I'm happy with that. But yeah, Gilbert, I have a sneaky suspicion if he can get past Tofts relatively quickly, he can go after and chase Luke Pennington. But as they always say, it's one thing to catch. Oh, that's a late dive from Gilbert. Oh, and he's rather used Tofts as a brake.
Yeah, but the gap was there. It might not have been there quite at the last moment, but certainly the door was open. So through goes Remy Gilbert to second, Toft third, Job fourth. That's going to get looked at. It'll be interesting to see the replay of that from the external shot, but I think the door was open, and Remy Gilbert had certainly committed to it by the time Jacob Toft thought about turning in. So Gilbert up to second. Now let's see what he can do about Pennington. This is going to be interesting. Look how much closer Job has become as well, dragging Berriman along for good measure.
I think the stewards will have a look at that post-event personally, just to, if not, just to give a bit of a ruling. Here we are then, he's coming from quite a ways back here, he's committed, he's not quite making the apex without wiping out Tofts there, so that's where I think the stewards might take a dim look on it because of the fact that he wasn't making that apex.
Yeah, true enough, he did go a little bit deep, didn't he? He had missed that apex with all the speed carried, and Jacob Tofts turned in, but I think when the contact came, they were probably about as close to being side by side. It certainly wasn't the front against the back of the car, was it? They were just about level. Anyway, to race control it goes, and that story might rumble on post-race. Results after Donington didn't come until the following day because there's quite a lot to look at, and the officials want to make sure it's all done properly. As there, Caruana goes defensive to keep Charlie Collins behind him, with Collins 7th here and Chadwick 8th and Job 4th after a win. It's going to make the championship mighty interesting, isn't it, at the end of race 4 of the season?
Yeah, we might see Sebastian Job come from 8th to being right there challenging for the championship lead. Why did we ever doubt him? Well, you didn't doubt him, that's for sure, but I had my doubts after that first round and just didn't seem the Job of all. But yeah, this is Sebastian back to his best in this week's action, and certainly I wouldn't count him out of a podium. And if Remy Gilbert does end up copping a penalty there, it's a time penalty system that they have in this series. He needs to run away down the track right now and try and get as much of a gap over the rest of the field.
Absolutely right, yeah. Let's go back to Sebastian Job. If anything, of Donington, the surprise was the penalty, I think. That doesn't happen very often. But here he is, illustrating the speed. He's put himself right onto the back of Jacob Toft, who, in fairness, is staying with Gilbert, isn't he? They're still close.
Yeah, he's not getting away. Oh, Gilbert, you can see how hard he's pushing there over the edge of the curb on the exit of the bomb hole. So he's really pushing hard, but he, as you say, he's not getting away, and Toft's keeping him honest. Now, we saw how good Toft's defensive driving was in that opening race to hold on to that 7th place. Can he do that on our multiple-time champion?
Well, right now, Luke Pennington is not being caught, but Jacob Toft in 3rd is under attack, as you suggest, from Sebastian Job. And up towards Wilson they come, and Job straight away is on the attack, goes to the inside, Toft covers it, goes fractionally deeper. Job has got the pace, hasn't he? No question about it as they come out of the corner. Nose to tail once more. Berriman 5th, Caruana, Collins, Chadwick to round out the top 8. And Luke Pennington's advantage, 2.7 seconds. He's not being hacked into by Gilbert as we approach half distance.
I'm fortunate that I've got an average lap time pace that I can look at here, and Luke Pennington, on average over the last 5 laps, 0.3 of a second quicker than Gilbert and Toft. So that just shows what that fighting is doing to those drivers 2nd, 3rd and the rest of the field.
But were Job to get past Toft and were he to get past Gilbert and put himself in clear air, then it might be a rather different story, mightn't it? The lap time data might show something different. There is Job then, back onto Bentley Straight, still pushing. In Am, it's still Christian Charuta ahead of Tom Stevens, incidentally, but look at that line of cars. 2nd, 3rd, 4th, 5th, and on the line goes, coming down towards the S's. So very, very close, very competitive indeed, as Gilbert perhaps this time is just edging away slightly from Toft in 3rd place. That gap coming a little bit greater now.
2nd to 13th covered by 5 seconds right there. That's just showing you how this queue of traffic. I'll tell you what, it's a reasonably priced queue of traffic as well. At that is this one. But yeah, Charuta still holding on to that lead in Am, and Tom Stevens is actually under pressure from James Dennison, who's not in his championship. It's a pro driver versus an Am. if you're Stevens, you want to try and stay with Tsuruta here, but you also don't want to slow yourself down with the pro driver.
Yeah, exactly. He can't really afford to let him go because it interrupts that battle. And Job is all over the back of Tofts here. So this is for third place, remember, with 11 3/4 minutes to go. Look back from Tofts' car. That's Job. He's still there in fourth place. Berryman is fifth. As way up the curb goes Job on the exit of 3. Back on board, coming down towards Agostini. This is where we saw Gilbert make his late dive a little earlier on in the race. Sebastian Job turns through fourth, sitting there applying pressure to Tofts, but he's not yet committed to a dive, has he?
And this is what we've seen and what we've come to learn of Sebastian, that he very rarely makes a rash move. It's calculated, and it's a move that if he takes advantage of a mistake, he's just straight there, in, does the job, get away. We don't see rash moves generally from Sebastian Job.
Race leaders then making that run again down towards the S's. Job pulls out, has a look to try to unsettle Tofts, and then pulls back in again. Job conscious of where Pete Berryman is, and the answer is very close indeed. And Will Chadwick still stuck. That great racing they had a few laps ago has calmed down a little bit, hasn't it? And now Matt Caruana is stuck behind Berryman, and Chadwick is stuck behind Collins. So like we had at Donington, Will in race 2 not really able to get through the traffic as energetically as really he needs to be able to do.
Yeah, and it was that fighting that we saw with Collins, with Caruana, with Job, all fighting together. That really harmed Will Chadwick's move through the field, and it's costing him a decent amount of championship points here. One driver who has done well, I will say, is Will Eatwell, who's been working his way through from 23rd on the grid. He's up to 17th, so that's 6 places gained, and Jamie Fluke up to 13th, a gain of 5.
Yeah, good progress as the race now works lap number 9. This is Jamie Fluke's view then, so the Northern Irish driver 13th, that's Crofton Woodhatch with the white-backed car ahead, going up the curb. Crofton, whose dad used to race Volkswagens going back a decade or so, if not more, and he's been another stalwart in the Carrera Cup esports scene for a few years now. Up front, Pennington's lead is growing, isn't it? So in terms of Gilbert getting away from Tofts, well, he's 7/10 up the road, if that, but Pennington driving off into the distance now, and a first outright win back, and seemingly.
Yes, it would be a tremendous result for Luke if he's able to do that. And again, it's another former AM champion from this series, progressing up to pro, taking a year or so to get to grips with it in pro, but then being able to push on. Okay, got himself there by being 8th in the first race, but you've got to show some good pace to get 8th in this series now. So Luke's really progressed on from where he was, say, a couple of years ago.
Yeah, totally. And this will do the confidence good as long as he doesn't make a mistake. Was it all part last year where he was leading in a reverse grid race and had a drama early on, spun himself out of contention? So Luke here has to make sure he doesn't put a wheel wrong, and with a 3-second cushion he ought to be now able to drive his own race and not panic about what people around him are doing.
Front of Berryman's car also showing the witness mark to the incident between him and Sebastian. He's going defensive early into Wilson. That's forcing Caruana wide. That might open the door to Charlie Collins here.
Collins to the inside. Can't do anything there about Caruana, who sits on the back of Berryman. Aidan Walsingham at the very back of that pack in 10th place. This is Collins' view again. He's really quick through turn 3, but there's nowhere for him to go there, is there?
No, he's stuck there right now, and he's trying to make some moves, gets a bit closer into Agostini, but again, like we saw with Collins and Chadwick in race 1, he's not making any rash moves, any sudden moves to the inside, like we saw with Remy Gilbert earlier on in this race. So yeah, again, Collins showing that patience and that time there.
Luke Pennington has done the fastest lap of the race. As you look at Fraser Hart getting involved there in replay with like Sebastian Hawkins, so that's going to be another one for race control to have a look at. Oh dear, oh dear, oh dear.
I tell you what, I've done my stint in stewarding and in race control of other series. I'm quite happy for somebody else to do it in this series because the margins are so tight, aren't they, in terms of what is a penalty, what isn't, and yeah, rather them than me.
Totally, I agree. Yes, it's a great skill to do it. Getting the replay of Sebastian Hawkins, he went to the inside, he'd got through, and then Fraser Hart either went up the inside to make contact, or Sebastian Hawkins turned across the front of Fraser Hart, depending on your point of view. But it was certainly that Seb was the aggressor, if you like, diving through to get in the place. But I think as he turned in, he was rather misjudged where Fraser Hart was in relation to his car. 6.5 minutes are on the clock. Pennington 3 seconds clear of Gilbert. Then it's Tofts, Joe, Berryman, and Caruana to round out the top 6. But look, Caruana has still got Collins and Chadwick queued up behind him.
Berryman's a little bit of the cork in the bottle, and I didn't think I'd ever see myself saying that. So yeah, he's really sort of just holding them up by that extra tenth or so per lap, and that's allowing Job and Tofts to pull away in this fight. As Job now looking to the inside of Tofts, and I think there's been contact between them.
And is Job through? Yes, he is, as they come out of the corner. Tofts back to the inside at Hamilton. He's got the inside line. He retakes the place. Sebastian Job slots back in behind. Berryman has caught right up as well. Berryman to the outside of Job, to the outside of Tofts. Up the inside goes Caruana. Caruana will get past Berryman. Great racing this. Berryman tried to force the issue, and he's come off worst.
Oh, again, it's knowing where and when to take those opportunities, and when you've been stuck behind somebody, you see an opportunity until you take it. But Tofts, I'll tell you what, he is fighting like a true fighter. This is fantastic to see from Jacob, and it's really, really good if he could hold on to this place. But 5 minutes, that's what, 3 laps to go. Here's another look then. That was Job. It was again a very late dive, and Tofts, I think he's gone, oh, not again. Back down the inside though, he got the place back.
Good racecraft that from Jacob. Whether Sebastian Job kind of let him have that place, thinking, well, I don't want a penalty, I'll give it back. It's hard to gauge off that, but Sebastian Job's clever, and that was Berryman's moment, going to try to get around the outside of Job, taking advantage, he thought, but then leaving the door open for others. So, Tofts still third, Job fourth, Caruana fifth, and we've got 4 3/4 minutes to go as you now get that run up towards the hairpin. Caruana's view to the inside.
Oh,
bang, straight into the back of Tofts.
Oh, and that was a mistake from Tofts, and that started going into Richards. He took a really tight line into Richards, and that compromised him through in towards the Wilson hairpin, and Berryman taking the place back from Caruana. It's all kicking off here, David.
And we're not done yet, as Collins tries to have a go at Caruana as well. So Berryman is back ahead of Matt. This is Collins. Up the curb they both go. Job then is third, Tofts down to fourth. Another tough race for Jacob, being shuffled back down the queue. Berryman comes next ahead of Caruana, Collins, Chadwick, Price, Walsingham. There they are. Walsingham on the attack. Up the inside of Price, gives him room, and he should be able to get the position coming off the corner. Yes, he does. Aidan Walsingham up the inside. Price tries to break late on the outside, but he's on the wrong line, the slower line. And so Isaac Price drops back there with Leo Brown right behind him. Aidan Walsingham up to ninth. And we're still not done yet. Luke Pennington, remember him? He's 3 seconds clear in the lead of the race.
Yeah, he's not caring about all of this. This is great though. Leo Brown trying to take advantage. Price, oh, a bit out of shape there. Losing the place. Crofton Woodhatch is the next one. And Jamie Fluke trying to get in on all this action. This is not been a good lap for Isaac Price,
who is sort of hunched over the wheel, concentrating hard, as you can see on the bottom right picture. 3 minutes on the clock as they drop down towards the end of the lap into turn 12. Isaac Price running in that pro category. Accelerates now up towards the line. Crofton Woodhatch behind him, 11th and 12th. They run, and that battle is not yet resolved either. Over the line they go. Pennington, 3.2 seconds ahead of Gilbert. It's sort of stabilised there, hasn't it? But we said Job for the podium was a real possibility, and that's where he is. He's third.
Yeah, he's had to be a bit robust about it, but the actual move that he made to get third was fair, in my opinion. So, yeah, Sebastian Job, good move and good work to get up 5 places into that third place, and he's well and truly bringing himself back into the championship fight. And Chadwick, once again, is just struggling to get by, and he just can't move forward in this second race. I think let's hope it's not the tail of his championship.
Well, yeah, I mean, he's good in qualifying, he's good in race 1, but the race 2 overtakes do seem to be a struggle. We know that these aren't the easiest of cars to overtake in, granted, but others are doing it, and Will seems to be struggling for whatever reason. Anyway, he's not given up yet. He's still there on the tail of Charlie Collins as they make the run again down Bentley Straight. There'll be one more lap to run at the end of this. And Luke Pennington looks as though he's going to make history. We had Sebastian Jobe make it by a 40th win early on in the day, and now it's going to be Luke Pennington for a first win in the second of the races here on the Snetterton 300. Christian Chiruta, in the meantime, still leads the way as far as the AM competition is concerned, and his last win was the equivalent race at Snetterton last season. So it's been a long, long time between wins. If Christian Chiruta can hang on in there, welcome back to the top step of the podium.
Yeah, I said last week, last time out, I have the strongest strain of commentators' curse in all of sim racing. So I'm not wishing that on anybody yet. So he's in a strong position, that is for sure, is Christian. Luke Pennington, best ever result in the championship was 4th last year. Last year at Zandvoort. So he's not even had a podium, David. What a way to get your first podium if he does hold on.
Well, looking good for him so far, isn't it? Whereas Jacob Tofts, Pete Berryman, Matt Caruana, Charlie Collins, Will Chadwick, 4th down to 8th, still absolutely tied together. Still get the feeling something's about to burst in that little pack, don't you, as they drop down towards Agostini. Tofts is now the cork in the bottle. Berryman looking as though he's a bit quicker.
Yeah, it almost feels like the blue touch paper has been lit and we're just waiting for the big bang. Not coming so far, and hopefully we don't get a big bang, that's for sure. But Berryman, he's smelling an opportunity of maybe getting up a place. Chadwick, though, on Collins, that's big.
It is, and he's done it, finally. So Will Chadwick goes by up into 7th place now. Charlie Collins drops to 8th. It's taken Chadwick a long, long time to pull that move, and Charlie Collins is going to try to fight back. Look on the outside as they come now down to the S's. Chadwick breaks late, and round the outside comes Collins. He's got the outside for part 1, the inside for the second part of the S's, and he's still fighting. Look, now to the inside into bomb hole. Chadwick just ahead. Crowds Collins is back up the inside, and Chadwick's now on the wrong part of the racetrack. Walsingham is right there as well. So is Leo Brown behind. Brown's alongside Walsingham. The checkered flag is ready. It's going to be a win for Pennington as Collins goes back ahead of Chadwick. Race win, history made. First win for Pennington. Off the road goes Collins. Around goes Walsingham. Chadwick benefits out of all of that. And in the mayhem at the last corner, it's going to be Gilbert, Jobe, Toft, Berryman, Caruana, then Chadwick, then Price. Collins for 9th, Woodhatch for 10th, Jamie Fluke 11th, and Leo Brown 12th. It all kicked off. We were predicting it would, even on the last lap, as Christian Chiruta comes home in 14th place, and in so doing wins in AM. So Pennington wins from Gilbert, then Jobe 3rd, Tofts 4th ahead of Berryman, Caruana from Chadwick, Price with Charlie Collins 9th after the Rallycross, and Crofton Woodhatch in 10th place. Wow, that, if you take Luke Pennington out of the equation, who rather dominated from the lead, was a really, really good race. Lots of good battling all the way through, Paul.
Absolutely, and I'm petitioning for the next round of the championship to be a reverse grid in race 1. What a fight that was. Chadwick, he did a really good job to get that move done, and then Walsingham saw an opportunity and went for it, and just unfortunately he had a car on the inside of him as well. That spins him off. Chadwick holds onto that place. Collins lost out in all of that by a spot as well, so Chadwick able to move 1 place up in the end. Enough look at it.
Yeah, so on the inside, Chadwick, Collins put himself on the wrong part of the road. Then you had Walsingham, who I think accelerated a little bit too energetically out of the corner and looped himself around. So Walsingham, in turn, drops a long, long way down the order. But through it all, it's excellent racing. This was Berryman's view. You can see the damage on the back of Toft's car. They got through the last couple of corners safely. Matt Caruana behind. And then that run up to the checker flag as Walsingham spins in the background, aiding in the end, 19th place.
Incredible stuff to finish off there, David.
Great racing and a really, really good round. In the end, the fastest lap, in fact, going the way of Remy Gilbert, 1:48.652. Gilbert taking second. A 14-lap victory, though. Luke Pennington, for the first time, is a winner. Remy Gilbert second, then Sebastian Jobe with Jacob Tofts 4th. Pete Berryman 5th, ahead of Matt Caruana Will Chadwick 7th, from Isaac Price, Charlie Collins down to 9th, and Crofton Woodhatch rounding out the top 10. 11th, Jamie Fluke ahead of Leo Brown, then James Dennison, with 14th being the winning AM, Christian Charuta from Tom Stevens, Will Eatwell 16th ahead of Guy Edwards, Scott Mopes 18th, Aidan Walsingham's spin at the last corner put him down to 19th ahead of James Parker. Then it was Fraser Hart from Scott Brazier, who's had a tough day. Seb Hawkins, 23rd from Conan Weirn, Gordon Marshall and Kieran Harding. Dylan Freckleton rounding out the order. We lost Leo Gariboli after lap 1 and never getting into the race, Gareth Higgins. But Luke Pennington will be a very happy man indeed. It's been a long time coming, but finally he has got that somewhat overdue first race win. And I think Paul can have a word with our latest race winner in Carrera Cup GB Esports.
Luke Pennington joins us right now, and we can say, first time, Luke, a Porsche Esports Carrera Cup Great Britain winner. How does that feel?
It's good, it's good. I've been in this series for a while now, so it's nice to finally get that win. I've been, chasing for a while.
Well, it's not just your first win, it's also a first podium for you as well. So talk us through that first race, because you were involved in quite the fight in the first race with yourself and Jacob Toft. So quite a tight battle with Isaac Price keeping you under pressure as well.
Yeah, the first race was really tricky. Of course, I think Jacob may be missing a little bit of pace. I, of course, didn't really want to fight him too much and get myself caught up in an incident, so it was just the case of sitting there and trying to get the reverse grid pole. But of course, Isaac was really fast. So yeah, a tricky one to manage, but glad I managed to make it through.
And well, good form then to take into future rounds. Congratulations, Luke. Opening win in this championship.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
There we go. That's Luke Pennington, race winner from race number 2 here. Let's grab our AM winner next. And it's a man who is familiar with the Snetterton top step of the podium because, Christian, I don't know if you remember, but the last time you won an AM race was here in this corresponding second race of the evening.
Well, I can't remember.
But how is that? Because going into this second week of the championship, it's been an interesting opening. Not the best first race of the championship. Got some good points in that second race last time out, and then today, really good results for you to put forward into that AM championship.
Yeah, we're easing into it. I think I was a bit disappointed with qualifying because I knew I had much better pace than I showed, and had a. I thought I was straight down the outside into the Montreal hairpin into the lead, but there was some contact and that caused a bit of damage. And I was just holding pace with Tom and Guy in front in the first race, and then got a cracking start in the second, and was just trying not to get involved with the pro guys in front and do myself some damage, but also trying to keep a bit of a gap to Tom behind, so I was kind of trying to keep myself in no man's land for most of the race, basically. But yeah, it seems like we're easing into it now and starting to pick up some pace, which is good.
And a good then launching pad for the rest of the season to try and fight for the AM Championship as well.
Yeah, that's the plan. I mean, it's today the second event, but it kind of feels like there's 3 already emerging after 2 rounds, which is quite interesting. So Guy again, obviously, and Tom is showing some really good pace. So we'll just have to keep an eye on where they are and try and stay ahead of them.
Well, I'm winner for round number 4. Christian Zeruta, congratulations.
Cheers, mate. Thanks.
From Christian, we're going to speak to Remy Gilbert next, who finished in second place in this race today. But it was a quiet first race of the evening, wasn't it? But this race 2, my goodness, you had to get the elbows out, didn't you?
Yeah, definitely. It was a pretty chaotic race for the sort of first half of it. But yeah, had a bit of a wobbly start off the line. The clutch slipped a lot and I fell back, but managed to work my way back through to second, and then by that time they all started fighting behind and I was able to build a gap.
And of course it's difficult time last time out at Donington, so you must be pleased with getting a good couple of results into the points in pro here in the second round of the championship.
Yeah, definitely. I'm quite inexperienced in this car, so to get a podium on the second round is pretty good. And hopefully we can just build on this and get more strong results across the year.
Well, go well, and look forward to the rest of the season. Congratulations on the podium here today.
Thank you very much.
There we go, and we'll get to speak to another podium sitter, but this time from race number 1. Second place in race number 1 for you, Will. Congratulations on that, but a difficult second race, I think it's fair to say.
Oh, sorry, I was holding the push. So I think I just got the wrong side of unlucky incidents, personally, just looking at it. But, you've got luck. You've got to try to do your best. But, I'm okay with that. Solid race 1. My quali lap was a really, really good lap. And then you undef and you speak to Sebi and he says that that's the best lap he's done in years. So, ultimately, what can you do? 2-time world champion and 4-time champion of the series. But, happy with my lap in qualifying. Happy with my race 1. It was very tough with the pressure from Charlie. And then in race 2, it's a hard track to pass when no one's making mistakes. But, with all the carnage, I think I just got on the unlucky side of things. But I don't see myself as done anything wrong. I tried to keep my nose clean. There was a lot of ping pong contacts.
Yeah, absolutely. But that last lap, my goodness, Will, you really had to work for that 7th place, didn't you?
Yeah. It was really tough. I mean, it's similar to what happened early on in the race between me and Charlie, because Charlie kept it on the inside. And then I was just, all I'm trying to do is, like, in those instances, I'm trying to focus on just making sure that I'm giving him enough room to try and race. Because if you're cutting someone's nose off or you're pushing them wide, you're liable to get a warning, penalty. If I'm getting 2 seconds and I've pushed him slightly wide and I've gained the place, that's pushing me back like 4 or 5 places. So I can't afford that. So into the last corner, I was able to do the break, and I think he just locked up a little bit because we were both absolutely on the limit into the final apex. And just a bit unlucky on the exit aid, and he didn't deserve to be involved in that.
Absolutely, but still good positive results for you, Will. Congratulations on the podium in race number 1.
Thank you very much. Thank you for the broadcast, guys.
Always nice when they thank you, David, for putting on a broadcast when they haven't seen it.
Well, indeed, and thanks for some good racing. Excellent stuff, that. So, bravo, really good stuff for Sebastian Job again, and we will reconvene in a fortnight's time. Championship getting really interesting. No doubt there will be 1 or 2 things looked at post-race. We can update those. But the 11th of February from Alton Park, the Island Bend circuit, that is going to be our next stop for more action in the Porsche Esports Carrera Cup, Great Britain. Thanks for your company today, and for Paul Smith and David Addison, it's goodbye. We'll see you in 2 weeks' time at Alton Park.